Hey guys, so today we're switching things up a bit and taking a look at some of the coolest Chrysler vehicles with the Viper V10 engine. Some are custom made, some are Chrysler concepts, and some are production vehicles. So basically any car not named a Viper can appear on this list. I'm thinking this will be a 2 or 3 part series since there are too many for one video and I already have a lot of different ideas of what I can include. But the Dodge Viper started out with an 8-liter V10 and then upgraded to an 8.3-liter and 8.4-liter later on. That V10 engine caught the attention of lots of people, and many that build their cars wanted to stick the V10 into something that you would never expect. So here are a few of those examples, and keep in mind that there are probably hundreds of people that have done this in a wide variety of vehicles, and different companies have built these cars as well. However, these are some of the most notable, and for each of them I'll talk about any details I can find. So let's begin. There are a few concepts on this list, as Chrysler loved to get creative in the late 90s and early 2000s. One such example is the Dodge Sidewinder concept, officially called the Dodge Dakota Sidewinder. This was first shown off at the 1997 SEMA show in Las Vegas, and it was a crazy hybrid combination of a coupe sports car, truck, and convertible. And of course, Chrysler decided to stick a Viper V10 under the hood. The Sidewinder was actually in the pickup truck class, and it was a 2-door coupe utility. The styling was taken from trucks of the past, with a very free-flowing design, including a bucket-shaped cab, which gave it a muscular look. And to get this free-flowing design, there were no door handles, big bumpers, or trim pieces anywhere, just the famous Dodge-looking grille. The wheels are also a big part of the visual design, with a staggered setup, 21 by 8 inch front rims with 225s, and 22 by 11 inch rears with 305s stock. The interior was pretty simplistic, basically like an open-air cockpit. As I said, under the hood there was an 8-liter V10 board from the Viper GTSR. In the Sidewinder, power output was increased to 640 horsepower and 530 pound-feet of torque, and the engine was paired with a 4-speed automatic transmission and rear-wheel drive. The specs were very impressive, especially for 2002, with a top speed of 170 miles per hour and a 0 to 60 of 3.9 seconds, pretty close to today's Hellcats. This was named one of the best ever concept vehicles in SEMA history. There's not too much more for me to say about this thing. With power and unique looks, this has it all. Unfortunately, this was never designed with a mass production in mind, and I guess it wouldn't be a car that appeals to the masses and would only work as a limited production type of thing anyways. Next up is a vehicle not known for being a powerhouse, the 2000 Chrysler PT Cruiser. Stock, it was nothing special, with a 2.4-liter 4-cylinder, naturally aspirated engine that made 150 horsepower and 165 pound-feet of torque. Tacoma, an automotive parts manufacturer, decided that it would be a good idea to build a PT10 in 2000. So not only would they stick a Viper engine under the hood, but they would also transform the PT into more of a pickup truck body style. As you can see, the hatchback got converted into a 2-seater with the rear doors and hatch removed, and it is complete with a small bed and tonneau cover. It does actually look pretty clean, and they've included a blue and silver 2-tone paint job, modified front fascia, BBS wheels, and a side exhaust to match the Vipers. As for the engine, the 8-liter V10 was used again, this time making 450 horsepower and 490 pound-feet of torque in this application. So that's a small increase of about 300 horsepower and 335 pound-feet of torque from a stock PT Cruiser. Other parts taken from the Viper include the 6-speed Borg-Warner T56 manual transmission, steering rack, seats, and rear suspension. So when you're driving it, it really does feel like you're in a Viper too. The PT10 also got a rear-wheel drive conversion, sending all the power to the rear wheels. Other custom additions include Willwood brakes behind the wheels and an airlift suspension. It was claimed that there were only 2 of these built, and one of them was never driven on the street and only used as a show car. The PT10 also won the award for the best overall concept at the 2001 SEMA show in Las Vegas. One of these would later appear on eBay, selling for around $13,100, but I'm not sure if the sale was completed or if the reserve for the bids was even met with that price. I'd like to see the performance numbers for this thing, but regardless, it's the ultimate sleeper vehicle, and the V10 along with the pickup conversion would be something that catches anyone's attention. Listed for sale in 2018 for a whopping $52,000 was this 2005 Jeep Wrangler. Now, although it is super clean, the reason for the extremely high price is of course that 8.3-liter Viper V10 hiding under the hood. And believe it or not, this Wrangler was then later listed by BJ Motors in February of 2019 for $69,995. No word on if it's sold though. The ones who decided to convert this Wrangler was a shop by the name of The Last Detail in Illinois that does restorations among many other things. From the outside, it looks tastefully modified with Mickey Thompson off-road tires, LED rear lights, a Congo roof cage, and some fresh paint. On the inside, of course, there's the V10 engine that makes 510 horsepower and 535 pound-feet of torque, sending power to all four wheels via a 48RE 4-speed automatic transmission, and of course that had to be beefed up to handle this extra power. There's also a custom-built rock track transfer case. This Jeep can still conquer off-road, retaining live axles at the front and rear, getting custom drive shafts, custom Curry axles, a Dana 60 rear end and Ford 9-inch front end, a super lift long arm suspension, worn bumpers, and rock sliders. The inside is also custom, with Alcantara front and rear seats, and a custom center console and rear cargo area. Brian Dunton, representing the last detail, spoke more about the Wrangler, saying, quote, "The Jeep needed a 1-inch body lift to help with getting it all in there. The hard part was getting all the accessory and air conditioning components to fit all around it. The builder spent a lot of time getting this one just right, and the owner swears he has never had any issues with it." End quote. And he also talked about what it's like to drive, saying, quote, "I was truly amazed at how well it drives. I thought it'd be all over the road, especially in corners, but it's just not." End quote. So again, this one-of-a-kind Wrangler was listed for $69,995 last year, but I'm not sure what it ended up selling for. Do you think that price is worth it for this great-looking powerhouse Jeep, or is it too much to pay for a used Wrangler? Before the Hellcat was even a possibility, the SRT team was exploring other ways to get the Challenger up over 500 or 600 horsepower. At the time of its release in 2008, the SRT8 was the top dog, with 425 horsepower and 420 pound-feet of torque, the most powerful vehicle in the Dodge lineup, behind the Viper. While the Challenger was known for coming with a Hemi, for this concept, it was swapped with a Viper 8.4-liter V10, making 600 horsepower and 560 pound-feet of torque, paired with the Tremec TR 6060 6-speed manual transmission. That routed the torque through a single-piece 4-inch steel driveshaft to an all-aluminum differential with a 3.73-to-1 final drive ratio and torque-sensing limited slip. The engine wasn't the only modification here though. First, the car got a beautiful tornado red paint job and some unique changes to the appearance, like a carbon fiber hood and deck lid to reduce a bit of weight, and a carbon fiber splitter and rear spoiler for aerodynamic purposes, enhancing downforce and balance. A shaker hood was added as well, which is also found on some of today's Challengers, allowing the engine to breathe better. Other performance parts were beefed up to handle the extra power. The whole suspension was retuned with a multi-link short and long arm suspension in the front, with Bilstein monotube shocks. The rear had a 5-link independent suspension with 20% stiffer springs and a larger rear sway bar. To help put the power down better, the SRT team also put on wider wheels than would be found on the SRT8, 20 by 9 inches up front with 275/35/20 Pirelli P0s, and then 20 by 10s in the back with the same size tires. Beneath the wheels were massive Brembos, 6-piston calipers up front with 15.4-inch rotors, and 4 pistons in the rear with 14-inch rotors. Inside was also race-inspired, with red striped and stitched leather seats, carbon fiber accents, and a red push-button starter from the Viper. This was a crazy concept at the time in 2008, but just 7 years later, the production Challenger would arrive with 107 more horsepower than this thing, so you could say that this opened the door to the horsepower wars from Dodge. However, those Hellcats never got that Viper V10. Anyways, that's the end of this video, guys. I tried to keep it decently short with the 4 vehicles that we went over, and let me know if you want to see a part 2 or a part 3, as I have a lot more ideas for this series. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and also let me know what I could add in a future episode in the comments section below. As always, thanks for watching, make sure to like and subscribe for all your Mopar content, and I'll see you in the next video.